that make sense?
You almost kissed the death of yours and then came back. So it's an important, and you had a lot of perspective changes after those incidents happened. So I would like to know about that experience.
Well, it's back in 2019. I had a mini stroke, which is like a stroke, but it all doesn't last as long. So I lost the use of my hand. I couldn't speak properly. You know what I mean? I can't speak properly now, but it was even worse.
Yeah. People don't believe that.
No, people won't believe that.
Okay.
And then they said, well, what we're going to do, we don't think you've had a stroke, but we're going to send you for a brain scan, just to be safe, just to be on the safe side, just to make sure. Yeah. So after several months, I got a phone call, and he said, yes, you did have a mini stroke, and which is called a TIA, and we've also discovered in that, doing a brain scan, that you've got a tumour on your skull. So I'm like, great, tumour on my skull. So I could actually feel it. So I didn't know whether that tumour was cancerous, non-cancerous, what was going to happen. And you go through, unless you've gone through it, you go through a whole heap of emotion, from laughing about it, to crying about it, to being in despair, not knowing what to do. And people will say, oh, you were brave, because I carried on doing my shows, I carried on as normal. And people were saying, brave, you're brave. And I was going, well, I'm brave. I'm not brave. There's nothing I can do about it, is there? There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. Why are you still doing your shows? Why are you still doing this? Well, what am I supposed to do? Just give up? Should I just give up? No. Right?
You should not.
And so I went to see, you'll like this bit, I was coming back from Cornwall on my motorcycle, and I get a phone call on my bike. Yeah, Mr. Pickstone, yes. Can you come and see the neurosurgeon tomorrow? Which is a guy, brain surgeon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow? Right, okay. So I went to see the guy. I'd had another scan from here to here because we're looking for cancer. Because if you've got first cancers and second cancers. So he said, if you've got cancer between anywhere else here and here, that'll be the least of your problems, your head. They'll have to deal with your cancer. But anyway, that scan came back clear. So I didn't have cancer. He went, good news, you've not got cancer anywhere else in your body. So I said to him, is that it? Am I dying? I'm going to die. Will I die? What's the problem? What have I got? I want to know. Don't hold it from me. I want to know. Don't want to be told everything's going to be okay. I want to know what's the prognosis. And he said, if it's what I think it is, you're going to be fine. And then, this is the bit that you'll like, because he was an Indian doctor. And he says, what I'll have to do is cut part of your skull out. Yeah. Then I've got this epoxy resin. And he says, do you know, like when you're making chapatis, you make chapatis? I'm like, yeah. He says, and then I'll put that in your head and we'll put screws in it, and then that'll set and you'll be fine. So I turned around to my wife and went, before he does my head, I want to see his chapatis. Yeah.
I'm not laughing for this.
Yeah, you can laugh. I'm laughing. Yeah, I want to see his chapatis. They're a right mess, weren't they? So anyway, and then he phones me up and says, good news. Oh, that was it. He was talking about cancer. And he phoned me up on the Friday after I'd had a meeting with him. He went, good news, you've not got cancer. I can do the operation. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And because I've been quite candid with him, he was uber candid with me. He went, now all I've got to do, you've got to come in 2 weeks' time, got to drill a hole in your skull, then get me sort of hacksaw in there, cut it all away, put me chapati, your epoxy in, sew you back up, job done. See you in 2 weeks. That was what it was like.
Okay.
Yeah. So that changed your whole outlook on life, because I know that the night I was going out of here, I can still remember it now, going out of here, because I had to go to the hospital ready for the next day, I locked the door and I thought that might be the last time I ever go in that room. I planted 150 daffodils in the garden, one of my favourite plants, not knowing whether I would see them grow. So it's really interesting. And if you think about it too much, you can get emotional about it. But, you know, I said to a lot of friends of mine, I'm not scared to die. I just don't want to. I'm not ready to die because I've got too much more stuff of what I do.
Got to meet Anbu.
That's what was upsetting me. It wasn't about dying. I wasn't scared of dying. I wasn't scared of dying. I was scared of not being here and experiencing the things I was doing, meeting people I wanted to meet, making a difference. That's what upset me more than anything. Well, I wasn't scared to die. But when I woke up, I did fist bump the surgeon, so we'd done well. Yeah. Does that explain it? So that's that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's why when you were saying you was doing a deep dive yesterday on the previous show, and I said there's already a hole in it, but it's flat. So it's flat. What he's done, he's not. I could have rounded it off a bit. Do you know what I mean?
It's a nice chapati, right? That's why you're still strong.
Still strong, yeah.
Lifting weight.
Proper. It's a proper chapati.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it, mate. So that also influences my attitude to things, my question of things, and I can be very abrupt, and I can be very if someone crosses the line, as an example, or say something, life's too precious, too short, too precious. Yeah. So if I give to someone, I don't mean give as in give them something, but if I give my time, energy, or whatever to someone, and they don't reciprocate, or they do something that's like, hang on a minute, I've done this, you don't want to do that, I just cut them off. Don't want to know them anymore. That's it, gone, finished. And people will go, well, why are you being like that? Well, why waste my time? Yeah.
True.
I've got a few stories about that, but it doesn't matter. But that, so people might, I can help people. I'll help people do what they need to do. I'll try and motivate people. I focus on the things that I want to do, not that are things that I have to do, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, so my attitude did change. I had I didn't have much tolerance for people, for certain things before, and I've got zero now.
That's true, because I have experienced, not physically, but mentally, lot of issues. And then I realized the biggest trouble in our generation is we think we have time. But I believe we don't have time. We have very little amount of precious time. And the biggest gift you can give to someone is your time, your attention. Yeah, your time in some or other way. I don't think it's a money or anything else.
No, time's the most precious thing. So, for example, and I don't want to sound morbid, you could leave here today, and tomorrow you might be dead.
Yes.
You might wake up dead, as they say, but you'll be dead. You won't wake up. But you do not know, and I know that from going and having a stroke. I went to bed with no problem. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking I was going to have a stroke at 3 o'clock in the morning, was I? I went to bed at normal, but my life changed that day as well.
That's true.
So people, you don't, I'll put that off tomorrow, I'll do that next week. Oh, we'll go there next year. You might not be here next year. Might not be here tomorrow.
Yes.
People think that they've got, it just keeps on rolling. No, you don't know, do you? Unless there's a way for someone to say that you're going to die on the 28th of March in 2025. You don't know.
Yeah.
I might not be here tomorrow. This might be the last show that I ever do. And a lot of people out there going, well, we hope it is. But there you go.
No, I don't think so, Kirk. Even my friends loves you, to be honest.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a good stuff. And that's true. Death is a confused thing, right? Like, I don't have that experience to talk about death, but somehow I believe that I already told this in our previous meeting, that believing in memento mori, the Stoic philosophy, which means that reminding yourself that you are going to die, which means you'll be more present when you are with someone, you'll be more expressive if you want to express with someone, you won't hold grudges, and you'll be aware of your time, and a lot of other stuffs which should put priority, which you should have priority just by thinking that you will eventually die one day.
Yeah. Well, there's only one. Death and taxis is the only thing you can be certain of.
Taxes?
Tax. Not taxis as in Ubers. Taxis as in tax.
I-
And you pay, when you pay for something, you get taxed.
I
So
didn't expect death and tax.
they're the only two things you can guarantee on this planet is death and taxes. You will get taxed on the money that you earn. You get taxed on the money that you spend. You get taxed when you die. You get taxed when you die, don't you?
Yeah, bro, I think
You do in the UK. You get inheritance tax. If you've got a certain amount of money, they take it off you. And you're dead.
I didn't expect tax. But true. Actually, that's true. We should think always about death and taxes
Yeah.
to
What a jolly show this is.
keep our priority intact.
We've had death and destruction. We've had the world is burning. Greta's ace. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't stand
that's
her. Can't stand her, Greta. Sorry.
so. Yeah, that's that's a heavy thing you told, Kirk.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually
Yes.
you are probably you are.
So if people ever misunderstand me, I'll think he's a bit of a. Where's the thing? Here we go. He's a bit of a dickhead. Then that bleeps out, doesn't it? Then that's probably why. That's why we're all influenced by what's come before us and what we've gone through. Well, all of us, as we go through life, you get moulded like a rock in a tumbler, don't you?
Yeah, nice. But yeah, somehow you're still here, Kirk.
Yes.
Strong, going to gym.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, that's why you met Anbu. So probably because of that.
Yeah, it's got to be done. I mean, for a bloke who's nearly 60, I'm quite
Yeah, you're
pleased
doing
with it.
great job, Kirk.
pleased,
Really,
mate.
yeah, you're a
Smashing it.
guy with great energy, positivity, inspiring. He still goes to gym, guys. So that's a great stuff because I have huge respect to people who go to gym every single day, at least 3 times a week, because I strongly believe it's the single most trait everybody should have. Because when I tell this, people used to laugh. One of my best friend came to me and told that while everybody have priority like job, money, and then gym, you have a priority that you should go to gym and then look after your masters and then look for job. That time I didn't tell anything to her because I know if I have to improve in my life, I need to change my body and mind. Only then that will take me to another level.
Love it.
I can't, insist on this because that's changed me. And from then on, I got lot of, I think, good beliefs which would take me to another level. But I can't talk about that because those things I believe in will, if it take me to that is the evidence. Those beliefs are the evidence which will take a guy to another level.
And it will, because you've got to have those. You've got to have somewhere to aim for, and everything. Unless you're living in a communist country where you're controlled, and that's what always makes me laugh when people go, "Oh, look at him!" It's that voice again. "Oh, look at him! He's a millionaire! Oh, poor me! I'm on minimum wage." Hang on a minute. Unless that individual has been given millions of pounds, or dollars or whatever you want, we've all got the same 24 hours, and all got, someone invents something and it goes wild, and they make millions of pounds. Oh, look at him! It's all right for him. You've all got the same. Just go for it. If you've got a dream or a passion or a skill or an ability, then focus on that. And that's another thing that I say when I'm in schools. If you want to go and walk lemurs in the Lake District, I don't know if you can walk lemurs in the Lake District. Well, if that's your dream and that's what you want to do, go and do that. But just be bloody good at it. Put 100% into it, and you'll be good.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah, but
That's true. That's true.
It will come to you. It will come to you. I firmly believe it. Yeah, I firmly believe if you've got a vision and you've set that into your head, you will see what happens. I believe is you see the opportunities. So if you say I don't know. Let's just say we want to have this podcast as like we want to be like Joe Rogan. Yeah. So if that's the aim, and that's in your focus, and that's your ultimate focus, you will see things that will take you to that point. And then when someone comes along and goes, "Oh, I've got this great idea for something, come and get involved in this project," you'll go, "No, because I'm going that way, and that's going to take me that way, and I'm going that way." So it will come to you. So if whatever dreams, passions, and the future self you want to be, you will attain that.
True. That's absolutely true, Kirk. Because I started podcast 3 years before. I started with table setup and then
Yeah.
stuff like that, and I spoke in Tamil because I wanted to create good content in Tamil.
Yeah.
Because I believe, even though a lot of good content creators are there in Tamil, I thought I could penetrate into that content creator space, but I couldn't continue because of a lot of various reasons. But till then, I wanted to do podcasts, and then I met you. If I look back, as this famous Stanford Steve Jobs speech, if I look back, I can connect the dots. But then I wouldn't have connected the dots, and I couldn't even possibly dream that I could meet you after 3 years. So everything connected, and I just kept the dream. I just worked whatever I could do. That's why I met you with full podcast setup, who wanted to do podcast, and then you believed in me and you invited me. That's a insane thing, right?
Yeah,
it's
because
a manifestation in itself.
You've straight away, you've already realised that's what's happened, hasn't it? For some reason, I'm looking at you going, oh, yeah. So maybe the universe or God is going, hey, Kirk, you need to get Anbu on your show. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're giving that vibration out, aren't you? You're giving that energy out. I want to be a podcast. I want to do a podcast. You're fun. You're entertaining. Do you know what? Let's do it.
True. Yeah.
It works, doesn't it?
Great conversation, Kirk. Lot of good stuff we spoke. I just have 4 more questions to you. I know it's been 1.5 years since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And you told me when we started this podcast, you asked me how many minutes we had to
An
go.
hour.
I told 1 hour, and you told
hour.
an hour will go like this. And then it did went like this because it was interesting conversation. I get to know a lot of new things about you. And my next question is, what is love to you?
Oh.
And talk about your love of your life. And
That could get me in trouble.
but because I wanted to understand love from your perspective, right? Because I might have different perspective, and it's still exploring in my head what is love. Is it really love, or is it affection? So I just want to understand that from you.
It could be, because it could be both, because there's times when we think we're in love and we're maybe not in love. We might be in something because of other reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that
Yeah,
make sense?
I
So you
understand.
might think you're in love, but you're not in love. And I met Sandra, who's middle of my life, so she is. So I'm not going to get into trouble. Well, I wouldn't say on camera anyway, would I?
Yeah.
But no, she is. So I met her when I was in Holland, and we all used to interact. So I knew of her because we all used to go out, because all the English used to go out together, and we used to go for meals and things like that, or go karting or whatever we did. And it's just one of those. A couple of times I was like, I think she's amazing. She's lovely. I looked at the way she looked after people, cooking for them. And I just thought she was great. So we got together, started a relationship, and yeah. So I don't know. I asked her to marry me about 6 times. No, it might have been less than that. She'll say I exaggerate, you see, as well. So it might have been 3 times. I asked her to marry me 3 times because we've both been married before, and she didn't want to get married again. And I asked her 3 times to marry me, and in the end, I says, "That's the last time. I'm not asking you again. You'll have to ask me." So she turned around. She said, she phoned me up one day and said, "I think tonight you need to ask me a question." So I ended up having to ask her anyway.
That's a great. Seriously, nice.
Yeah. Because we both been married, she didn't want to get married, but we was having Nathan, and as it got closer, it's like she didn't want Nathan to be born and not us not be married, because obviously there's various reasons. Obviously she's pregnant and you have different thoughts, but when you think about it, I don't know if it's like in India, but if we weren't married, say she was having God forbid, she was having the baby and something was happening and we had to make a decision, do we save Sandra or the baby? I would not have had that. I would have not maybe able to make that decision because we were not married. Yeah. So it would have been a family. So there's that as well. But I think on I think what... No, I think... What I don't think. I know, because we've been married for 22 years nearly. What makes it work is communication. So, what... You need to talk about things, problems, and what we tend to find is, when I was going through... You need to support each other. So, and it needs to be a partnership, not one-sided type of thing. So, when I told you about I had a nervous breakdown at work, I said I couldn't carry on working. Sandra was on a path to do her artwork and actually gave that up to allow me not to work so that she could work to support us. And there's various times through our lives when one person needs a support that the other one was going to give. So communication and supporting each other. So we've got a very different relationship to... Oh, thank you. To a lot of people, because...
It's great stuff, right? Because we are a lot of people are filled with egos where you guys for love.
Yeah. So what we did, Sandra's always been able to... She loves working. She's really good at her job. She could always command higher salaries. Nathan was our, my third child, and so if you want a second chance, and I think we end up. I said, well, we switched roles. Basically, we were both working at one time. We switched roles, so I brought Nathan up for quite a long time, as well as having a job, as well as having a business. But I worked around him going to school. So I think I've been really fortunate to do that. And it's one of the toughest jobs to do, and also one of the most rewarding jobs to actually bring another human and encourage him. When he was 14, I was taking him business networking as well. Yeah, so he stand up in front of people, talk about his mum's business, etc., etc. So, does that answer the love? I think it's not easy. Everyone looks at me and Sandra as a couple and goes, "Oh, look at them." It's not easy. You have to work at something. And we live in a very much a throwaway society where it's very easy to walk away at the first hurdle. But if you're committed to something, whether it's your business, your family, your podcast, and you're doing it for those reasons, not for money, it's not about money. Money's crap. It's not about money. If you're doing it for something that you really love, really passionate about, you will carry on. The trouble is, a lot of people think, I want to do that because I'm going to earn loads of money. And what happens is, as soon as they hit the first hurdle, the first problem, they give up because it's too tough. They've not got this fire in there to keep them going. Yeah.
So the best thing which glues the best thing which, I'm sorry, because that story was really moving, because I didn't expect you to tell all this story, to be honest, when I asked this question. So it was really nice story. I could picture everything you told.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice story, right? Because and I believe in that. So communication is what really matters. That lacks with respect to any relationship, right? Even with parents and even with everybody.
And trust as well.
Yeah.
In any relationship, if you lose trust, the relationship is dead.
So communication and trust.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're in business or you're in a relationship and there's trust, the trust goes for whatever reason, the relationship's dead. It's gone, because that you cannot get that. It's very difficult to get that trust back. It's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult.
So in the name of from Kirk himself, the romantic man of our podcast, communication and trust is what really important to keep the relationship intact.
And I think also, I've got this cabin. Sandra's got her own cabin down there, and that's very important. So have your own space as well. Do things together, but have your own space as well.
Yeah, that's the most famous word nowadays, to have our own space.
Our own space. Yeah. Need space.
Important, guys. Young guys, listen to this.
But also, we both. One of my friends died in 2010, and I got a motorcycle after being off for a long time. So Sandra passed her test, so we go out together. So she's like me. She's my friend. Yeah, she's my friend. So there you go.
So I asked Kirk about relationship question, and he told me 4 things to remember when you are going into a relationship. First thing is communication. Communication is really important. Second thing is trust. If you break your trust, that's it. It's like breaking a glass. Third thing, have your own space and give them that space. I know nowadays people must have listened to those lot of things. And fourth important rule is to be a friend first than a lover, correct?
Yeah.
So that you guys can prolong that relationship forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice stuff. I'm going to use this line.
Yeah, cool.
Nice. So coming to next question, which is the question I wanted to ask you for a long time. I know I can take up your time, right? I mean, it's been 1.5 hours, but
1.5 hours. Yeah, we're going to be here about 3 weeks. Go on.
but yeah, this conversation is really getting personal, and I don't want to end this conversation without asking this important question. So when I listened to your podcast and the videos which are already there on YouTube, and then you spoke about depression in your life. So what is depression to you? How you felt? How you came out of it? And what keeps you into not going into the depression phase again in your life? So these are the important topics I feel which we need to talk right now.
Yeah.
And I want...
Well, I think things can happen to you throughout these. I always say it's a bit like you've got to, if you fall over, say your kids fall over on the floor, you say, stand up, dust yourself down, carry on. Yeah, that's what you say. Dust yourself down, carry on. And it's how you do that if you've suffered depression. And I think virtually everyone must suffer from depression at some point.
Yes.
For whatever reason. It could be the death of someone, it could be a relationship that breaks up, it could be you've lost a job, could be anything. It could be you're not getting on with someone. There's a whole host of reasons why you can get depressed, and you can feed off someone else's depression as well. So if you're in a relationship and your partner who you're very close to is not in a good place, you can get into a very bad place yourself. So it's how you keep yourself, motivate yourself from that, isn't it? And I think so let's just say try to keep it a bit simple, or something that's more current. So say for example we've got the radio station, or I'm doing something and it's hard going. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to progress and keep it going, and you can get depressed at that, because you're putting all this effort in and nothing's sort of happening. So I think going back to what I was saying before, you've got to come back to and go, why am I here? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Yeah. So I was on antidepressants at one time years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. And I stopped taking them. You're not supposed to stop taking them. You're supposed to wean yourself off them. I stopped taking them because I woke up one day and realised I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. They were just like I was like, this is no good. This is not good. I don't care. I simply don't care about anything. Not bothered. Yeah. Like everything or whatever. So I stopped taking them. So I think you've just got to, you can cope with it by, you need to talk to people. So if you've got something and share it with someone who you trust, you know, for blokes, it's not seen, seen as a sign of weakness, isn't it? Blokes are supposed to be macho and not get upset and all. It's all right for potentially, big boys don't cry and all that sort of stuff. So that puts even more pressure on blokes, yeah. And that's why the biggest bracket of is it 20 and 35 male suicides, yeah. Male suicide is terrible, because it's all bottled up inside a minute. So you need to talk to someone. I think you got to sit down and think, what am I doing? Why am I here? It's what can open you up to find a thing that you find your happy place, whatever it is. It's difficult if you're in that pit of depression. That's really a tough place to come out of, I think. I know. I've been there. So most of my life, I'm a depressed kid. That's the. When I think about it, it's super scary, because I was, like you told, I was in a hole from which I couldn't come out of it. From childhood, I don't know what piled up to that, because I had a great parents. My parents loved me to the core. They didn't even scold me in my entire life. And I have
touch wood, I had great friends also, but somewhere down the line, I went into the deep hole, and then I go back to it again and again. And I think I know the reason now. I've explored into my head lot of time. So I've read most of the books, most of the videos in the internet about depression and how to come out of it, because I know I was in the hole and I needed to come out of it. And I didn't find any solution to that. So I went into books, speeches. I didn't know what to do. I saw an interesting video where Jordan Peterson talks about it, where he tells that Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela Peterson, had arthritis. Arthritis is one of the most painful disease. And then he...
Yeah, just hang on a second. For some reason that stopped. You could carry on talking, actually, because it carry on.
Is it recording?
This is still recording. The vocals are still recording, but there's no video, no visual.
No, it's okay.
So,
anyway, we are going to finish just 2 more questions. I'm sorry, did it take more time?
I don't know what happened there. I didn't like it, did it?
Is it because of more time? But you have did a lot of times, right?
No, it should be fine.
Yeah.
Should no, I do a 2-hour show, don't I? So yeah, we're back in the room. What was you saying? Yeah.
So we were talking about depression, and then I saw this interesting video where Jordan Peterson talks about it. So Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela Peterson, have arthritis, and arthritis is one of the most painful diseases. And she also suffered with depression. So Jordan Peterson went to Michaela and then asked her, would you choose the pain you felt by arthritis, or would you choose the pain you felt by depression? And she told an interesting answer, which is she would choose arthritis pain anytime, because that's how worse depression feels, which others couldn't understand. And there are set of things you can do to come out of it, which will be spoken in a dedicated episode from us, or we'll call an expert on those things, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah, definitely, because people need to know about this. How I came out of it, it's huge, like 4 years of practice, understanding why I go into it, gym, going into the sunlight, and just doing the work despite feeling like shit. That works. I know it's a cliche advice, but that definitely works, because that's what I did when I went into depression last September. I didn't know what to do, but I had a lot of stakes to lose if I were keeping in my bed and crying all night. But I still woke up, went to gym, finished my day job at my best, and then still did what I had to do. And then eventually you start feeling better. And then, as Kirk told, you need to talk to the people you trust, maybe your love of your life or maybe your friends, because just venting out would definitely help.
Yeah.
So
or go to a support group that is for whatever. There could be a reason why. So it could be, I don't know, could be a death or something. Well, go to a support group that it's other people that are in the same. Because what happens is you think you're the only person on the planet feeling like you're feeling, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. There's loads of people out there. It's yeah.
Yes. Nice, Kirk. And just 2 more questions.
Gee whiz.
This question is going to be short.
Go on.
I mean, the answer is going to be short. I know about that. You spoke about a philosophy or a business term called speed of trust.
Speed of trust, yeah.
Yeah. Talk about it and give a quick explanation, because I felt it's an interesting thing to learn.
Well, we talked about trust before. Once it's gone, it's gone. Speed of trust. Things, if you go on, it's Stephen Covey, but Stephen Covey's son. So if you look at Stephen Covey and Stephen Covey's, go and search Stephen Covey. And it talks about the speed of trust. A great example, right? So what happens with the speed of trust? When trust is high, things move fast. When trust is low, things move slow. And he talks about this, and it's really interesting because the great example, 9/11. Before 9/11, you could go to an airport, and it's quite quick to get through an airport. Yeah, 9/11 happened. The world went, whoa, we're gonna have to change things. Trust had gone through the floor. Yeah, because of the terrorists, or if you're a conspiracy theorist, the US government. Yeah, so trust went down. So what happens now is you go to the airport, you've got to take your belts off, you've got retina scans, you've got to check. It's a slow process because trust has gone down. when trust is high, and he gives an example of two business people who were doing a multi-million-pound deal, yeah, and they basically met over a meal and shook hands and did the deal because the trust of those two individuals was so powerful. They didn't need, that was it. They were talking about lawyers. They would have had to get lawyers in who would cost them millions of dollars. And they said, we don't need lawyers. I trust him. He trusts me. We're going to shake our hands. Deal's done. Yeah.
That's great philosophy, right? It was interesting because I wanted listeners to know the speed of trust is relatively means that if trust is high, things happen fast-paced.
So if you don't trust something, like if you don't trust your boss or your employees, what do? Everything slows down because you're doing loads of checks and balances to check because you don't trust. Yeah.
Yes.
And because you don't trust someone, they're not going to trust you as well. So trust is really important, and trust it's amazing, and it'll cost you a lot of money. It'll cost you a lot of time if trust is low. If trust is high, things will move.
Yeah, this put interesting perspective on how to build relationship with the business person you are meeting with, the client or the love of your life or anybody for that matter.
People will buy off you if they trust you. They'll
Yes.
trust you if they trust
That's
you.
true.
They'll be happy to pay you money because they trust you. Yeah.
Just because building a trust would speed up lot of the exchanges, that's great thing I learned because I have read lot of books and then I never learned it anywhere. So thanks for that.
Stephen Covey and his son. Go and search them. Absolutely brilliant.
Definitely, I will listen to that. And the final question. Yeah, because I'm enjoying the session. So, so the final question is Dougie Stone Radio.
Oh, Dougie Stone Radio.
How can we end this episode without talking about Dougie Stone Radio?
Okay.
Tell me about the reason for your name, what it means, why you are doing this, and what's your future plan from this question.
Yes. Well, this is obviously not Dougie Stone Radio. This is the AK show with Kirk and Anbu. AK. Dead easy, innit? Keep it simple for simple people. Right. I'll try and be quick as I can. Found out I was dyslexic in 2010. Yeah. Quit my job, started a business, went to university, studied dyslexia. Wanted to help people with dyslexia. Didn't want them to go through the same, because that would make me very depressed. Go through the same thing that I went through, being dyslexic. So I started doing a podcast. Okay? So I started doing a podcast. When I was 11, I always wanted to be a radio DJ. It was my dream of being a radio DJ when I was 11. Didn't know how the hell I was going to get there. Could never see me getting there. How I was going to become a DJ. So anyway, that was when I was 11. So I'm doing this podcast, and I was about to pack the podcast in, and I said to my friend, we was driving to an exhibition, and I said, I'm going to pack this podcast in because it's a waste of my time. I don't think anyone's listening to it. Am I making a difference? At that exact point, and I'm not lying, I'm telling you the exact truth, because you can ask her, it's Tanya Brink. So I'll go and ask Tanya. At that exact time, the phone ringed in the car and I answered it. Hello, Kirk, this is the BBC. Yeah, BBC. The BBC in Coventry. BBC! And can you come in on Saturday? Because we found your podcast, and the British Dyslexic Society should be coming on Saturday. They can't make it, but we want you to come in and talk about dyslexia on the BBC. Yeah. So that was that. So I really enjoyed that. And then that was recorded. But I fancied doing a live radio show. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I wanted to be a DJ when I was 11, didn't I? So someone that I knew was working at a radio station. It's not going anymore. Online. So I started working on the radio station. And after a time, the job that I was doing, or my business, I was spending all my time on the radio station and not looking for my own work, basically. But Sandra was working, like I was saying before. I was looking after Nathan. I didn't need to work, but I was working. So I was like, why don't we do our own? We're putting all this effort in. Why don't we do our own? I can see there's a need for what I want to do. Now, when I told people back in 2017 I wanted to start a radio station, they all said I was stupid because radio is dead. Radio's dead. Yeah, radio's dead. And I was like, inside, you don't know what I want to do. You don't know where I'm going to go. You don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, my intent was to be the place where we could bring bear in mind I wanted to be a DJ, where people could come who had never DJ'd before, or presented, want to be a presenter, they could come on the platform. Where we could get emerging artists and promote them. So the platform is all about promoting emerging artists and emerging presenters, or talent, emerging talent. That's what it's all about. Okay. And I said back in 2000, or we said when it was 2017, we want to be the place where listeners come to listen to great music. We want to be the place where artists want to be heard and seen on. And we also want to be the place where the industry goes, what are Dougie Stone Radio doing? Because these guys are on the button. Yeah. And back then I said, that's what's going to happen. And guess what? That is what's happening now. We're getting a lot of our artists that are actually, we're interviewing them and then they're going off and being getting on BBC Introducing, which is phenomenal. I've got an artist, Brie Hopkins in the States, who I discovered singing karaoke on a Facebook video, and since 2018 she's gone from singing karaoke to releasing her first studio album, and last year winning a TV award for the best video.
Nice.
But if you'd have told me that would happen in 2017, I'd have laughed at you. Yeah. But that's what I wanted. That's what I put out to the universe. And that's what came. Yeah. And so it's phenomenal. Yeah. Are we making loads of money on it? No. It costs us quite a lot. However, I think that will come as time goes on. So it's not an easy thing to be in, but we're getting recognised now. And you know, when radio's dead, or I do different things, guess what? I wanted to start a radio station because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a podcast. I taught myself to podcast. I was really into video editing as a hobby. And the next thing I wanted to do was be on TV. So guess what? We're on our own TV because we started to, just as COVID started, we started to do video. And how do we get that video onto our website? And it's quite expensive to get the servers to do that. And as that was where we was going. We was going video on our website. Yeah. So we're going to do a show and you'll be able to consume it on our website. And as we were developing it, Mixcloud came along. Guess what? I can go into Mixcloud for a fee every month and I can do shows. So we was already moving. So when people talking about, oh, radio's dead, we already knew we was going to go somewhere else than just radio. Because radio is, if you think about radio, people think that when they do, I see a lot of people doing shows and they think they're just doing a DJ. Those days have gone. I've just putting tracks on, playing music. They've gone because people want to be entertained. So they want, you can pick your phone up now. Yeah, I can put in whatever, R&B, bosh. We could sit here for the next 20 hours and listen to R&B. Don't need a DJ. The difference is when you do that and it's entertaining people involved. So what we do is we get the listeners involved or the viewers involved in what we're doing, which gives them a sense of ownership, a sense of tribe, so that they come every week and watch what we do. That's what we're doing. Flipped it on its head. The name Dougie Stone Radio comes from my name's Kirk. So people might not. So you've got Kirk Douglas. So when I introduce myself to people, if you say my name's Kirk, they'd say Kurt, or they'd mess it up. So I'd go Kirk as in Douglas. So there's the Dougie bit. And my surname's Pickstone, which no one can ever get right. So if you take the end of it, Stone, and put it with the Dougie, you get Dougie Stone. Yeah. So when we were setting the website up and we went from launching the station, for December was going to do a station to launch, website, everything in 7 days. 7 days we did it. Because we were going out to Australia, we had to be ready for seven days. So we looked for different names. Every name we looked at, and this is really important for artists out there, or you're setting something up, go and check out the name that you think you've uniquely picked. Yeah?
It'll be there.
It's unique. It'll be there. There'll either be a business, or if you say it's an artist, there'll be another artist. So I've met artists and they go, oh, our name's what? Soup or something. I don't know. Just made a name up. So I'll go and search for Soup on Spotify and get some band that's in the States that were out in 1970. So how are you making that easy for that person to find you? Because you name yourself the same as some other band, some artist or a business, which can cause you problems. So we spent a day and a half looking at names, and in the end I went, this is crazy. I've already got a business called Dougie Stone. I've already got a business bank account called Dougie Stone. I'm registered. Do you know what? Let's call it Dougie Stone Radio. And people also said, well, why are you calling it that? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't say what you do. But neither does Virgin, neither does Moonpig, whatever. Mention loads of names. Because if you pigeonhole your name into, I don't know, could be Carphone Warehouse, which was a company in the UK, who has a car phone? Nobody. But at the time, car phones were relevant. Yeah. But Virgin are not, they do everything, can't they?
Yeah.
They have planes, trains, internet, do whatever they want. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Yeah, interesting stuff. Kirk, 2 hours of conversation.
2 hours.
Did I
2 hours of crap.
Did I dive deep into your head?
Do you know what? Do you know what? I'm going to have to go and see the neurosurgeon because I need a new chapati.
You can go to Tamil Taste
Dozer. But you were saying dozers have not increased much, so maybe I'll have a dozer instead.
Yeah, dosa is...
Dozer. That's a dozer. No, dozer.
Yeah,
I
dosa
like
is good.
dozer. The first time I tried...
So actually Tamil word is dosai.
Right. The first time I tried first time I ever tried one was last year.
Oh, did you like it?
There's a restaurant in Leamington Spa. Me and you are going to have to go. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've been. Oh, Sandra took me. The food is sublime.
Is
And
it?
And he made, yeah.
Probably one day we should go. Probably we should record a session there.
Yeah, we should go.
Yeah, by eating.
Yeah. I used to do a show that was like that with eating, so we could do that. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
definitely, sure. Yeah, Kirk, I think that's the questions I wanted to ask. It's been we planned for 1 hour. It's been 2 hours. And then I learned a lot from you because I've already watched all the videos of yours in the YouTube. But still, you told me a lot of stuff which things because of the questions I asked.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
probably
the
is.
reason? I'm just kidding. So anyway, you told a lot of personal stuff also. Thank you, Kirk. But it's our show, right? It's a great.
It's our show, yeah. No, and it's their show. It's
Yes.
their show as well.
Yes.
If they're still watching, if anyone's been brave enough to get to this point, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You are a stayer. You've got stamina. You've got stamina.
I know it's tough. It's tough. But when we look back
Yeah.
at this episode, this will mark as a first episode where I get to interview you and then you tell me a lot of good stuff. So that's what I didn't think much about what will audience do. I just wanted to understand you,
That's cool.
learn from you. That's how I approach this episode. And it's our show. So when we invite a lot of guests from whom we both can learn.
Yes.
We both
exactly.
can share stuff. That time will be even more interesting.
He will.
So, do you have anything else to say?
I think I've said everything.
Everything.
And all I'll say is, if you have enjoyed the show, please subscribe.
Yes.
Go and find us, the AK Show.
Yeah.
And if you've got any questions for us, or there's someone you want us to, we think you should have on, let us know. Because listen, we're trying to be like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Got a long way to go.
Hopefully
But we'll
one day.
get there.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And I would I want to end this session with.
Oh. We ending with that. So until next time, people. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the questions, brother.
Thank you guys.
That was abrupt, wasn't it? See ya.
See you guys.
We're out of
Bye.
here. Oh.